Hello friends. In this video, I'm going to talk about one of the most popular feature used in Power Query is to combine multiple files with the same schema stored in a single folder into one table. When I say same schema means the structure of those files which are being kept in the folder are same. The column name with the case sensitivity, it has to be the same. Number of column might be different. For example, each month you want to combine budget workbooks which you receive from multiple departments where the column name are same but the number of rows and value differ in each workbook. Once you set it up combining those budget file using folder method, then you can apply additional transformation as you would with any single imported data source and then refresh the data to see the result each month. Now this method works perfectly fine when you have the same schema. But when I do my training session teaching this method, most of the attendees describe the different scenarios in their workplace, what they may have. For example, they say that we get files from our different departments, but the column names are same, but someone writes or make the changes in the column name, making it in small letter, and someone writes in caps. The other scenario I get is that we get some report files uploaded from our system, which will always have some top rows where the file description or some detail being given, but that is not the part of our data what we may require. Similar way at the bottom we may have totals or we may have some other validation check on those files. Other scenario where participant describe is some people have blank columns or blank rows, or when you upload from the system there are some macros which create those blank rows and blank columns on the same files. Now when you use these method, the folder method, to combine these files, it will not work fine. You have to first clean all those files manually in Excel or in the data source to remove those top rows which you don't require, remove those blank rows and blank columns and these kind of things to work this method in a proper manner. But using custom functions, now what is custom functions? Custom function in Power Query are very powerful. If you find yourself in a situation where you need to apply the same set of transformation like what I mentioned, that every time you have to remove those two top rows or the bottom rows for different queries or values, then creating a Power Query custom function that can be reused as many times as you need could be beneficial. So creating a custom function to incorporate those transformation, removing top rows, removing bottom rows, removing blank columns, blank rows or column names is something in caps, something in small. So these kind of things which keep repeating every month. So rather than doing it on data source, creating custom functions and using that function again and again to get your task done. So Power Query custom function is a mapping from a set of input values to a single output values, and this is created from native AMP functions and operators. So that require a good knowledge about the AMP function, which is the language behind Power Query, right? Most of the time or most of the users when they start using Power Query, the ribbon user interface which have almost everything what you require as regards your transformation are concerned, so you never go into detail about the language. You click a button and you get your transformation done. But behind the scene, a code is being written in AM functional language, which is the Power Query functional language. Now, what I did, I created a custom function keeping all those scenarios in mind, which usually come in my training classes by the attendees. I created a custom function. It's a nested function where I am combining all these kind of scenarios. So let's say here in this function, I am saying removing top rows, bottom rows, blank columns, reading column names from automated column list. So there is no hard coded column names. And then I have header name in proper case before combining these multiple Excel files in the folder. So if I show you the code of this function, it's quite lengthy, but all those scenarios what I was describing, I'm covering in this function and getting my final result. So we'll see how does it work. So within that, I have created few parameters: how many rows you want to skip on the top, how many bottom rows you want to skip at the bottom before you combine the folder, and a parameter for the folder path itself, right? So let me take first a normal Excel folder, or rather Excel folder, which all the table schema, all the files are having the similar schema in these, which is in any case you can do with normal Excel folder method, and which will give you the right result. So here I'm using that folder path in the parameter and invoking this custom function to get my results. And you see that I have there 4 columns and in each of the file, and those are being combined together in this single output file. So this was perfectly fine, but let's look at another scenario in this different folder where, let me open one of the files. So what I have in this, on the top I have these 2 rows which I may not require as an end result. I have a bottom row which says total of this column. I also have some blank rows. Then I have a formatted column which is basically a blank column in one of the sheet here, September month. And then I have August month. Similar way here I have 2 top rows and 1 bottom rows which I don't require. Likewise, the other files also having these top rows and the bottom rows in this particular folder. So let me copy paste the path of this folder, go back to the same function, copying the folder path over here and invoking this function. Now at the moment what you are seeing is it is not giving me the correct result because I still need to input those 2 parameters for the top rows. How many top rows I need to skip is 2 top rows, and at the bottom I had 1 total. And the moment I input these parameters, I come back to my output value and you see that everything is being combined perfectly in the way I wanted. So this was second scenario. The third scenario, where I have the column name in these files kept as different. So in one of the file I have amount written in small letters, and in other file I may have amount, column name amount written as caps. So if I try to combine these 2 files or all these files, it from the normal folder method, it will create 2 different columns. One is amount in caps and other one is amount in small letters. So to avoid this, my custom function is taking care of these issues as well. So let's see how it works. And I invoke this function to get the result. Here again I need to go back and put the skip rows as 0, and bottom rows also I don't want to remove anything. And you see that the date, company, amount, and there was another column called city. Everything is working perfectly fine. So this is the custom function, quite useful, and it is not just for this method, but there are many custom function which as an advanced user I keep building and using them as and when I require, and it make my life easier and it make me more efficient. So I hope you like the video. Thank you very much for watching this. Bye bye.